Hello guys and welcome back to the Volks Wizard channel. Today's video is part 2 of the Volks Wizard all-season tyres test. In part 1 I shared with you my opinions on Goodyear's Vector 4-season Gen 3 after the first 500 miles on my Market Golf GTI Club Sport. Well, I've now covered over 2,000 miles on these tyres, and I think therefore it's a good time to answer the big question a lot of you guys have been asking. We all know all-season tyres outperform a traditional summer tyre when it comes to cold, wet and snowy conditions, but how do they perform when the weather turns warm and dry like today? Can you still enjoy driving on an all-season tyre in the summer? Well, today we're going to find out. Well, it's been a long time coming, but today it's warm and dry with an ambient temperature around 20 degrees and the tarmac temperature higher still due to the sun. Now we're going to confine this test to the road because all-season tyres are not designed to be used on track, but it's not just any road, it's my favourite British B road, which has a 60-mile-an-hour speed limit and a fine selection of corners, many of which remain a challenge at speeds below that. Basically, it's hard to have more fun on the road and stay legal. We're going to compare Goodyear's all-season tyre with their top high-performance road tyre, the Eagle F1 Super Sport, which was actually factory fitted to my Market Golf GTI Club Sport, and reviews suggest is a worthy rival to Michelin's ever popular Pilot Sport 4S. But let's get the ball rolling with the all-season tyre. Now, as you'll know from the first video, I was really impressed with the Vector 4 Seasons Gen 3 because of the lower levels of road noise and because of the positive effect they had on the car's fuel consumption due to lower levels of rolling resistance. And I'm still impressed today, 1,500 miles later, but I need to know if all that comes at the expense of the tyre's warm weather performance. And to find out today, we're going to perform 3 tests. We're going to do some high-speed handling. We're going to brake from 60 miles an hour to 0 as fast as possible, but first we're going to accelerate from 0 to 60 miles an hour using launch control. Okay guys, I've set the tyre pressures to 41 psi, which is correct for this car and tyre size. I've put some warmth into the tyres by driving them around for a bit, which I will also do with the Super Sports, and I've got the car in sport mode. I've turned ESC to ESC Sport. I've got my left foot on the brake and my right foot on the throttle, and we're good to go. Let's go. And that's 60 miles an hour, so that was pretty ESC controlled, and there was quite a bit of slip, so it'll be interesting to see how the Super Sports will handle that. I think the traction control light was pretty much on through all of that up to 60 miles an hour, so yeah, not a particularly good showing, but whether that's to do with it being all-season tyres or a 300 horsepower front-wheel drive car, we'll find out as soon as we test the Super Sports. Right, let's do the brake test now. I'm not measuring distance, it's just really a question of feel. How does the car feel when you get on the brakes from 60 miles an hour? Okay, so we're going up to a straight bit of road. I can see behind me, I can see in front of me, it's all clear. And let's just go up to 60 miles an hour, which is the speed limit. 60 there. Okay, 60. And brake. Well, we seem to have left some rubber on the road, so I would probably say that wasn't that great, but until we try that with the Super Sports, it's really hard to say. But yeah, it's interesting that the ABS still left rubber on the road. Maybe that's the way modern ABS works, because ABS has been known to make your braking distance longer because it keeps on turning the brakes on and off, so maybe a little bit of rubber on the road is a good thing. But right, now with that done, let's do the cornering. Now, in those first 2 tests, we were really pushing the tyres to their limits. We were accelerating as fast as launch control would let us to 60 miles an hour, and then we were braking as hard as we could do from 60 miles an hour to 0. Now, in the 2,000 miles I've had the tyres for. I've never done a launch control and I've never braked that hard, although the braking is probably more relevant than the accelerating because you never know when you need to brake. So I'm hoping this cornering test will be within the tyres' capabilities and more representative of normal usage. We're limited by the speed limit, so we can't go squealing around corners at 80 miles an hour, but this is a good road for 60 miles an hour. Trust me, it's still quite exciting. So let's see if I can have fun. I used to commute on this road and I used to have a lot of fun on proper tyres. So nice round 60 miles an hour. Let's see what it can do. The important thing is keeping the power on through the corners, because cornering does slow it down a bit, but that felt good. It didn't feel different to how I remember it on normal high performance summer tyres. And then another corner now. Yeah, it feels great. There's some faster corners coming up though, so let's see how the all-season tyre can handle those. Let's hope we get a clear run. It's quiet at this time of day usually, so yeah, this should be a good one then. So 60 miles an hour, turn in. A little bit more noise as the tyre sort of rolls onto its sidewall a little bit, and then this is a tricky right-hander that kind of rolls you off onto the verge, into the stones and the trees. 59 miles an hour then, that was fine. And then we've got quite an easy sort of right-hand kink, which then is followed by a sharp left-hander and a sharp right-hander. It's going to be very tricky to keep the speed up through those, but conditions are perfect, or at least they are for a normal tyre. So this is a right-hand kink. Actually a bit more of a corner than I remember. 60 was fine then. Right, I can change gear. We'll take this in fourth. We're going in at 60. Yeah, a little bit scrabbly then, tiny bit of understeer. I haven't got room to understeer on this one though, because it's the right-hander, and that was 55. And then into 30 for the 30. Right, well, what can I say? I think a high performance tyre would be that little bit more precise. You'd probably not go into understeer like we did on that second from last corner, and it would feel a little bit tidier. But let's find out. One big thing I have noticed on these tyres is that you do feel the rear axle lean into the corner much more, and it'd be very interesting to see if the Super Sports do that as well, because they've got a much stiffer sidewall. So let's go and get the Super Sports fitted and do that all over again. Okay, I've just popped to Selly Oak Tyres in Sturchley, Birmingham to get the tyres swapped over, and I thought it'd be a good opportunity to see if we can feel with our hands any difference in the sidewall stiffness. So this is the all-season tyre, and with my left hand I can put the thumb right into the sidewall there. This is the F1 Super Sport, and it's a lot stiffer. I'd probably say it's twice as stiff. I can really push it in there, while that really hardly moves. So let's see if that affects the way the Super Sport performs on the road in comparison to the Vector 4 Seasons Gen 3. Okay guys, so as before, the tyre pressures have been set to 41 psi. I've done some miles to get some heat in the tyres, and we're going to start off with launch control. So left foot on the brake, right foot on the throttle. Launch control program active. Let's go. Bit of spin, but it soon hooks up, and that's 60 miles an hour. So a little bit less sketchy than on the all-season tyres, but a bit of step because we've got 300 horsepower through the front tyres. Let's do the braking test now. There's nothing behind us or in front of us. From 60 miles an hour to nothing right here now. Ooh! Wow. That felt a lot more controlled than in the on the all-season tyres. It felt more violent, and we haven't left rubber on the road this time as well, because I don't think the ABS was as busy, because the tyres have got a lot more grip. They'll grip a lot more and not lock up. So yeah, that was impressive. Right, let's do the bit I really enjoy, particularly on these tyres. Okay, now for the handling test on the Eagle F1 Super Sports. Now, if my memory serves me correctly, when I got this car brand new and it was delivered on these wheels and these exact Super Sports, it has never driven better on anything else. So not long after I bought it, I switched to 19s and the Eagle F1 asymmetric 5s. Well, think Michelin Pilot Sport 4 versus 4S's. That was the difference. Let's see if that memory is correct now as we get into these corners at 60 miles an hour. So the steering feels so much more precise and direct. It's incredible, so incredible. I'm actually going to be able to go so much faster than 60. I'm going to have to rein myself in. So let's just make sure we do stick to 60. I mean, this corner now, left-hander, it's just going to be like a walk in the park, like one finger. But we've got some gnarlier corners coming up, so let's see if we can really feel a difference compared to the all-season tyres. So if we get a clear run now, we can apply quite a bit of throttle with some steering lock, and nope, no slip at all. So up to 60 pretty quickly for this left-hander. This won't feel challenging at all. It just feels so precise. It felt okay on the all seasons, but I am really having to slow myself down for this one, which is a bit of a nasty right-hander. 60 dead there. It's too easy. Maybe that's the problem now on these tyres. It's too easy to drive fast. Okay, 60 then for this corner. But actually it probably will feel like a kink on these tyres. Yeah, that's just like cruising. This is the trickier one now, so we can try and maintain it to 60. I can't help getting on the brakes, but I just trust the tyres, and you can just get in and you can just work the car. You haven't got the feeling of the rear trying to overtake either. And then this one we can go into it at 60, and I'm not understeering at all. That was 60 right around that corner. So yeah, if you do drive like that, and I'm not sure many people do, but if you do, you're probably best off not using all-season tyres on a warm, dry day like today, but there's a lot of other factors to consider. Now, it's important to acknowledge when interpreting these results that not many motorists actually push the limits of grip on a regular basis, nor do they drive performance cars, and for them a good all-season tyre like the Vector 4 Seasons Gen 3 will be a better choice than a traditional tyre, because it provides perfectly adequate levels of grip on a warm and dry day, but it's much better in the snow, as my video last year confirmed, and it's also good in heavy rain, which is a risk all year round. There is one condition to this though. However sedately you drive, you could find yourself, because of the actions of others, having to perform an emergency stop, and in that situation the all-season tyre was not as reassuring as the traditional summer tyre. So I suggest it's only fitted all year round to cars that have got sophisticated ABS and traction control systems, but that's pretty much every modern car on the road today. If, like me though, you like to responsibly enjoy the thrill of driving on a regular basis, then a good high performance tyre like the Eagle F1 Supersport is a must for the summer. That's not to say the Vector 4 Seasons Gen 3 has been terrible, far from it. I've had some really enjoyable drives recently on this tyre, but now I've driven them back to back for this video, it's reminded me how good a modern high performance tyre is on a modern high performance car. And if that means I have to swap over to all-season tyres in the winter, well, for me, that's definitely a price worth paying. Anyway guys, as ever, thank you for watching this Volks Wizard video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Please, as ever, do comment, and please do subscribe. It's been great to get to 40,000 subscribers. Thanks to everybody who has subscribed, but let's get to 50k soon, and I'll see you for the next video very soon.